Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the episode of These Are The Voyages. I'm the Captain, Captain Chase McKinney. And joining me for a stream-crossing conversation, my dear friends, Commander Eric and Commander David. How are you guys?
I'm in recovery.
Oh, gosh.
No, the wife and I have been sick this week.
Oof. Oof.
When, school starts, you get around all those... I don't want to call them kids anymore, because they're not.
But yeah.
How old do you want to feel tonight? Those kids.
Those
dang kids.
Get off my lawn. No, so, school started for me is, she's going back to school. So we're just around people, and we both kind of, I don't know if I got sick and I gave it to her, if she got sick and she gave it to me, or we both got it on our own, but we both got sick.
In the spirit of the old Double Mint gum commercials, I'm pretty sure it was Double Mint, sharing is caring. It can be fun.
So if I sound a little nasally or anything, or if I have to clear my...
Kapla!
Let me clear my throat. Yeah, I can just do a guttural and pretend I'm speaking in my Klingon accent.
That's right.
I don't have much to say. No, it's just I around this time is when you start gearing up for end of year stuff work-wise. So yeah, it's just been a lot of that. Holding people's futures in the palm of your hand.
Oh, you have to do like performance reviews and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out with you debate the preliminary ratings.
Sure.
And then you start talking about like promotions and comp, and then you go through and you do your writing and all this stuff, and really it's like the last 2 months of the year don't matter all that much technically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a lot of that boring stuff.
Sounds great. Sounds like
it's real cool.
Barrel of laughs or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I know that this is like super exciting for y'all, but there's been something that I've been like looking forward to in my professional life, and that is I just launched, or not initially launched, but we just had our first team meeting with my research team. So I'm first author on a research project, which means I'm the point person, basically, like leading the charge. And we just had our first team meeting and put together like a little plan of attack and kind of some incremental like timeline goal stuff. And I'm really excited about it. So I know it makes me sound like a total dork, but I'm really excited about this research project.
No, that's cool. For your job, do you have to do research? Is it part of your job?
No, I'm at a teaching university.
Professors, they got to do the research.
Right. Like I'm at a teaching university, and for everyone, scoot close. Let me tell you about the university system. So we have there's R1, R2, and teaching universities, basically.
Okay.
I'm sure, Eric, you might know about this to a certain extent.
Yes,
R1,
I'm familiar.
R1 and R2 universities are heavy research. You get a lot of your paycheck from like grant money and doing research. They're still teaching, but it's not as much of a focus. So teaching universities, it's kind of flip-flopped. You're focused more on teaching, and if you research, that's cool. Like they want you to, but it's not like a publish or perish kind of situation like you have at other universities. But, when you are going up for promotions and you're going up for like tenure, like they want to see like some scholarly activity, basically. And I'm fine in terms of like my scholarship because like I'm presenting at I've presented at some international, national, and regional conferences, so like that gives me the points I need in terms of scholarship. But like actually being published, like that'll help you out. So that's what I'm working on right now. Is that
now? Are your research partners, or I'll call them assistants, your research assistants,
Oh, good grief.
because you're the head guy, right?
That's
You're the lead researcher. You're going to be listed number 1 when you publish.
that's true.
Are they do you have to meet like virtually? Are they near you, or is all your
So
communication-
they're both in the St. Louis area, actually.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're meeting virtually for this, but one of the first goals that we're aiming for is, put in a conference proposal. So we're kind of doing this like backwards. Like we know what we're going to do, but the proposal is going to be based around more or less having preliminary data to report. So that's how you kind of game the system. By the way, if you want to publish and present, you don't have to have the whole thing done. You can present preliminary data and it still be worthwhile. So that's what we're doing is we know what we're going to do. We're getting the IRB approval. We're going to collect the data, but yeah.
Yeah, so my advisor, my guy who I did my master's with and I wanted to do my PhD with, his research partner was still in Japan, right? My advisor was Japanese as well, right?
Okay.
His partner was still back there, so communicating for them, they had to time it perfectly.
Yeah, that's gosh, what is it, like a 16-hour difference or something?
Yeah, it was he had timed it perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just had to schedule a cross-country meeting not too long ago that nobody showed up to.
Oh no.
And then I had to reschedule it 2 weeks out because you have to deal with all the different time zones and stuff and block calendars and so forth. So yeah, that's
Just send them a Calendly or whatever that thing is and have them
Calendly, yeah.
Have them
Yeah.
mark their times.
Yeah.
nobody does that where I work.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to suggest time.
No. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that's great. We're all in the same time zone. We're all in the same time zone, so we don't have to worry about hour conversions or nothing, which is great. Even if it is a +1, +1 or -1, with the hour, but yeah, it's great. So I'm excited about it. That was one happy spot in my week since the last time we spoke. So anyway, guys, we're gonna get into it here in a second, but man, this is it, right? This is the season finale, and nothing quite yet for the future of Trek. So I'm just gonna say this now, for what it's worth, y'all. We're in the spoilerific territory, so this is your red alert. So buckle up, Buttercup, as we talk about the season finale, the season 3 finale of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, New Life and New Civilizations. So,
Gotta say, when we saw the episode title list come out,
yes,
I think I messaged you guys and said, if I didn't know any better, that ending sounds like a series finale.
for real.
Yeah.
And this episode kind of felt like it could have been, if there was no other episode ever and this was just all we got, I think it's a pretty complete ending.
Yeah, agreed.
We have the kind of almost like the TNG ending, right, where we have this big adventure, but then hey, we know our adventures are going to continue and things are going to happen, but it felt kind of final.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Yeah, there was some imagery. I know we revisit some places and stuff, or some ideas from earlier in the season for sure. But just like we've been doing, I know we were just touching on it and stuff, but I mean, were you expecting anything like this? How does this match up against our preseason discussion?
Well, it makes sense to bring back the Vesda, right? We had the episode, and wasn't it episode 5 or was it episode 6?
That would have been
episode 5. So it was the
5,
middle
yeah.
point, and then we at the middle point.
Yep.
And so at the middle, and then they kind of teased us that, you know, this is not over. So it makes sense that this was coming back. I do think the previously on, like, if you came into it and you weren't sure, I know it kind of gets into the story very quickly, right? It doesn't take long to explain the setup, but the previously on, man, kind of gives it all away what's going to happen here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, that's a lot. I know you want to remind people of things, but dang.
Yeah. I mean, specifically to your question, no, it wasn't exactly what I would have thought it would have been at all. But
No, bro.
But I also did say, you know, we were talking and previewing what would have happened this season, and I think I might have even said this even before in some other conversations. Like, we ended last season on this cliffhanger where Captain Patel was infected with a Gorn, and I put out this question, you know, what's going to happen to her? Are the writers going to make a decision to possibly unalive her? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the word you got to use these days. And I said, you know, and then how do we deal with that? Like, how would we deal with that storyline wise? How would we see the character of Pike, Captain Pike, grow and just live with that? Actually, I think there could be some interesting stories to tell. And then it felt like we saw some of the promotional materials where, you know, Captain Patel was featured prominently in some of the promotional pictures. And we're like, well, that's probably not going to happen. And then they didn't kill her. Spoilers in the first episode. I don't know if it's a spoiler. They did not kill Captain Patel from the Gorn encounter.
No.
Right?
No.
But here they made a decision. Like, is she dead? Is Cisco dead? Right? Is Marie Patel dead? I don't know. Right? But now they made the decision to do that. Right? And I thought that was something that they might do. They just delayed it till much later.
Yep.
And I do think, just from the way they ended this, the final scene on the bridge, it seems like they're going to be exploring that more, hopefully, how that impacts Pike going
I would
forward.
hope.
And I really do think this season, I feel like Pike was sidelined a lot this season.
Oh yeah.
So I know we only have 10 episodes, and I know you have a lot of characters that you want to play with, but, like, let's play with Pike a little bit more. He's our main character, right?
Yep.
And I just hope we get a more Pike, a stronger Pike presence.
I agree.
Going forward.
I agree. Now I know I'm jumping in the end of this, but, like, you know, with that decision that they made, and we've already done, like, the spoiler alert, red alert thing with folks. But, you know, would you have rather had, like, a Gorn, like, chest bursting, face hugging kind of death for Captain Patel, or this? Like, what do you like more? What would you have, what do you prefer more for the character?
I mean, I suppose I honestly prefer this over Alien.
Yeah,
But sorry, my only thing is that I kind of thought that they were actually going to make more of a point of, like, something of Gorn physiology that was going to be, like, a bigger tie-in, like it saves the day, and thusly you could kind of continue your maybe the Gorn aren't all that bad type of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess I prefer this as well, because we kind of already did, like, the Hemmer thing, right? Where Hemmer was infected, and then so he didn't get chest bursted. He sacrificed himself.
Right.
Sacrificed himself for what, really?
Yeah.
Because it's not like it helped them escape, or he didn't draw anybody near, like, draw people near him and let them escape or anything. He just kind of jumped off the side of a ship. I don't know. It felt to me a little anticlimactic, though, at the end. Like, I feel like they were building up this big confrontation, and they had like a big fight in the earlier episode, and here she just kind of shows up and does her magic sparkly hands, and it's over. That's it. And it was like, it just didn't feel big enough, right? And so if they were going to do this, I just wish they had pushed all their chips in and did it.
I want to add in one other thing here that unfortunately I think we've all said at least once. I know I've said it more than once. The pacing of the episode overall felt rushed. And again, this is something that actually could have been like a really decent 2-part episode.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it just, this was what, 50, 55 minutes?
Yes.
The runtime, obviously, have credits and the intro and all that. But like, it felt like you could have, to Eric's point, explored more of that. Like, there's a very, poignant, fantastical scene where you could have like ended there and then picked up next season, maybe.
Yep.
No, this episode to me, it felt like a first draft of a script. It was,
I could see
it was all over the place. Like, so at first they set up this Mbenga storyline, like, it's destiny and I'm written here and there's a duality to all of this. And then Mbenga was nowhere to be heard from again the rest of this episode. Right? Non-factor. But it was destiny and everything is duality. And we shoved our fingers into our eyes. Well, that's a Slipknot song.
Yeah.
Right? If you didn't catch the reference.
I'm going to send you guys something later because of that.
Okay, but like they did the Mbenga thing and they dropped that. And then, I don't know, the Corby thing felt kind of out of place. And then...
Yeah.
And then, the fantastical sequence, which I felt like probably could have been longer if you wanted it to have the effect that you really wanted it to have.
Yep.
And then the ending was rushed. So it's like we had these ideas and we put them together in a draft script, and then we decided not to do rewrites. But you had 2 years to do. You probably didn't have all the 2 years because you had a strike in there. But I felt like you had time if you wanted to do some rewrites.
Well, that Eric, when you had mentioned like it did feel like a finale, it almost makes me kind of wonder if it's like, was somebody either at Paramount or within this show like afraid that, despite the fact that they've said they're renewed for 2 additional seasons, it's like, did they think that there was going to be some, I don't know, backlash or something like that causes the show to be canceled? So they kind of ended it as opposed to doing like the 2-parter like they did last season into this season. It's like, I don't really care to speculate too much about that, but it just seems like, like you said, it just, maybe there was a completeness that could have been done by elongating the story a little bit more.
So you saying you felt like they got gun shy to do a cliffhanger again because they were afraid?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know specifically, but it's just it's kind of like you did it once, you could do it again, and I think that the story overall, at least for a lot of people, might have benefited from that. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. This just isn't the first time that I've said that things felt rushed.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, like, do streaming shows do cliffhangers these days? Like, is that like a thing that it really exists in the streaming world?
So, kind of. I mean, like, the one that comes to mind immediately is the latest season of Stranger Things, like how season 4 ended of Stranger Things. Maybe that's not the greatest example, but stuff happens at the end of that season that's going to have a direct impact
Yeah, but I
immediately.
feel like everyone's forgotten about that because it was 3.5 years
It was
ago.
it was like a long freaking time ago.
You can't have a 3.5 year cliffhanger. As far as you get 2 years, and then like I'm gonna forget about what happened.
It's strategic so that they make you rewatch it so you can have more downloads.
Well, no, like I'm not gonna even like sometimes cliffhangers in the streaming world, like when you wait 2 years between seasons, it's like people forget what happens, and so that's why I'm asking: do streaming shows really want to do that if they know there might be a long delay before you get the next episode, get the resolution?
Yeah, I think I'm not going to go really hard on this, but I think maybe the only difference is Star Trek's a very established show overall. And while you don't have to have cliffhangers, but I think that the show, of course, being on television, not on streaming service and so forth, is, that's just part of the DNA maybe.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, everything kind of gets formulaic nowadays as it is. So.
Well, and that's why, like I said, like I don't think Discovery was really a show that did cliffhangers per se. It did, okay, we're going to wrap up our story and then kind of like do a tag or something to kind of set up the next season. Right? And I think even like this show, Strange New Worlds Season 1, did that same idea. We had an episode, we wrapped it up, and then, here's like a little tag. And I don't know, some people might call what happened at the end of this show, Season 1 of this show, a cliffhanger with Commander Riley being, arrested. Because we did kind of pick up there, but it wasn't like in that exact same moment that we picked up. So that's why I don't necessarily consider it a cliffhanger.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like a little tag, and okay, this is what we're possibly doing next season.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wanted to, we can kind of go quickly, probably through the beginning part of this, but I wanted to point some things out. So, with the beginning of this, right? Like, there's, like, we have Battelle, among other things, who is basically getting ready to go take office with the JAG Corps and everything. We had like the last time on Strange New Worlds piece, which kind of gave the farm away, more or less, with what's going to happen. But Pike's through a captain's log telling us that Battelle's ready to return to active duty, right? She's pretty exhausted from like all-day interviews, which I wouldn't blame her. Been there, done that. They're not fun. Not fun.
Nope.
And we're getting ready for a captain's table and stuff like that. So we're there, and so this is the first of crossing the streams, crossing fandoms. If you don't watch the show, you wouldn't probably pick up on it. But what is it? Pelia is talking about, or there's the statement: Enterprise has had a few challenging months. That's an understatement. Pelia says, "Oh, challenging schmallenging. Remind me to tell you about the time I spent with a time traveling doctor."
Yeah, I caught that.
Yeah.
So we have, I mean, I don't know if I pointed this out, but in the, oh, good grief. Space no. The Salat who ate its tail, when they're in like the little belly of the whale type of thing, you can see a TARDIS in there. There's a TARDIS in the episode. So there have been Doctor Who and Star Trek comic crossovers, and it's making me wonder if that's what they're trying to do. They're just kind of doing like a wink and a nod to doing like a live action crossover, but it makes me wonder like which Doctor Pelia would have been a potential companion with. I personally think Capaldi as 12.
I don't
But
know
that's just
nothing. I don't know anything about it, so I can't.
That's okay.
Well, she said she was a roadie for the Dead. Is there a Doctor who's a particular music fan?
12.
There you go.
Yeah, Peter Capaldi's Doctor, 12th Doctor. Anyway, so we're just kind of hanging out and stuff, and we're kind of just catching up, asking how, Corby's doing, what he's up to. He's off doing a thing, looking more into that immortality thing, doing more of his like sight digs like he does, and he's at a place called Skygowan, looking into some stuff, which is kind of like this. It's connected to the planet that they were at in the previous episode, right? The Through the Lens of Time episode, the mid-season episode we were just talking about. And the phrase Spock says, the phrase the Vesta spoke to you, Kalikachna, that apparently means something. And it's more or less the same as the Skygowan thing. So it's like one and the same kind of name, I guess. So we're going to go check it out. And there is a book series that is still like the second book in a trilogy is going to be releasing here in November of 25. So a couple months from now, at the time of this recording. The first one was called The Will of the Many. And the second book is called The Strength of the Few. And there are floating pyramids in these books. And the cover art that's on these books reminded me so much of the pyramids or the whatevers that we see in this city that we're at. I couldn't tell if David was looking that up or not.
No.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna meet up with Corby, and we're gonna go check out some stuff and kind of like get some more information. That's kind of connected to a previous mission for the most part, but also just to reconnect them because why the heck not? And that's where things get interesting, so to speak. So we see like some like old like Elder Scrolls and Final Fantasy looking villain outfits going on, and we find out that there was this like life sign that Scotty identified like pre-credits, I'm pretty sure, and it was Ensign Gamble, and like somehow his backup emergency patterns were looped out, and yeah,
well, he was rebuilt. We had saw our alien race sort of get into our computer beforehand, so yeah, they were able to rebuild him.
Yeah, this didn't make sense to me. Like, I know we had the little cliffhanger, not the cliffhanger, the little tease or whatever, the scrambled screen on the computer, and somehow it got inside of there. Never really explained how it got there, right? Because I don't think Gamble ever touched a computer when he was infected on the ship. Maybe he did when he broke out of prison or something, but... And then how did they rebuild his pattern? You can't build human I mean, I guess if a replicator can build meat or food for you, you could theoretically build human I don't know.
See,
but
this is
can
the
you
question
build something that's living?
Right. And that is the very question I was going to ask on here. Like, well, kind of two things. One, hasn't it been established at some point that like patterns are only held for like a finite amount of time because of how much data basically is required to kind of hold it? Like I know we had the Scotty thing, like with like relics, and like they were able to kind of like keep his pattern, but that was his whole self.
Well, Mbenga's daughter.
Yeah,
and Mbenga's daughter.
Scotty was also using a Dyson sphere to help, built around a sun to help him power that thing, right?
Right. So there was this like perpetual like battery, this perpetual like charge. Like it was plugged into the wall basically to keep it powered. And I mean, like we were talking about like star dates, right? Like, so Lens of Time, that was star date 2184, and we get here to let me be specific. 2184.4 was Through the Lens of Time for the star date, and now we're at 3165.2. So it's roughly it's 1,000 and some change more for a star date.
Yeah, but I don't think like I said, we had that discussion. I don't think you can really go on the star dates for this show because they were hamstrung by the original series star dates. And we know that this season has only taken place over a couple of months. Right? They say it in the beginning. The Enterprise has had a trying couple of months.
Sure. But just trying to articulate the amount of time that has potentially passed, I think, is important. Because like if it's a sliver of, even if it is a backup, right? It's a photocopy of the dude, you know. There's still going to be degradation that's going to happen over a period of time.
And well, my thing is like, was Gamble died the second the little things hit his eyes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so the Vesdas were in a sense reanimating him like a zombie. So the pattern that they create out of Gamble doesn't necessarily have to be alive if the Vesda can. But didn't the Vesda came out of him, right? And they trapped it in the ball. So did the Vesda somehow split itself off and get into the computer? Because where would the specific Vesda that is now inhabiting him still, where did that come from if they somehow got it out of his body? That's what didn't make sense to me.
Right.
So the Vesda being in the Pokeball that went out into space, like, that makes sense to me. Like, it's out there, it's like this cosmic whatever being, so it's gonna, like, it can escape from its Pokeball.
But it's trapped in the they can't escape from those little Pokeballs.
But I'm trying to, like, make sense of this. Like, so to me it makes more sense for this cosmic being to escape from a Pokeball than for there to be unauthorized yeeting of a dead body from a pattern buffer.
Yeah, but if they could escape from their little ball prisons, then why couldn't they have done that in the larger prison?
Because they couldn't get out of the prison then.
Yeah, they couldn't get out of the prison, but they could get out of a ball.
I don't know.
But what also didn't make sense to me is that how did this thing build him out of the transporter and then transport him off the ship with no one on the ship knowing, right? Wouldn't there would have been like a log or a record and they'd be like, on unauthorized access of the transporters, like, and no one knew.
Yeah, that's all true. But I mean, if you wanted to do some hand waving, they're probably pretty advanced. Like, our technology wouldn't necessarily be impressive, right? Considering the race that they are. So maybe it's, if you just wanted to hand wave it away, you could say that maybe they could manipulate our technology in ways that we don't know how to yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess.
They didn't explain it. I mean, being blunt about it, they didn't explain it enough to really... Yeah, again, they were kind of charging forward.
Yeah, and the thing knew exactly when to activate the transporter and reanimate and beam off, because it knew exactly when it hit the ley line point that it needed. Which, don't get me started with ley lines. What a dumb pseudoscience ley lines are. Like, Sky's like, they're real. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, okay, you use things, but ley lines are dumb. I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for that.
So, okay, so this is, it gets, so we're on Skygowan, We're in the upper level of this floating pyramid thing, and all this just seems like it just happens so fast. Like, am I wrong in that? Like, this happens like all this stuff happens pretty quick. Like, there's a party with our like Elder Scrolls big bad villain in the image of former Ensign Gamble, wearing something funky, getting his acolytes to stab themselves in the eyes, and in the meantime, we're gonna have an away team, a landing party
led by Una, which I like, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, here, take your first officer.
Yep.
But like, there's these portals that take them up are supposed to be heavily guarded, right? That's what we literally said in the beginning. Corby said, these portals are heavily guarded, and it's taken me weeks to get through. And all we have to do is like pretend to be drunk and stumbling around, and we can sneak behind them. And I still don't like the idea of people who are not Vulcans being able to do Vulcan things.
That's what they do,
like,
you know.
Neck pinch.
Private time.
Okay, but anyway, after they did that, they're standing there talking, and no one in this giant like city marketplace is like, "Hey, they just knocked out the guards to the portal up to the gods." Like
they are somewhat. They are somewhat distracted, though, because this is when Gamble's kind of out doing his rounds, right?
He's somewhere else.
Yeah, I know, but when you're gods amongst you.
Yeah, but there's all those people just walking around them as they're standing there talking after they've knocked out the guards with their pretend to be drunk and stumble around maneuver.
Yeah, don't disagree.
Although, like, and did you notice Chapel with the red hair here?
Yeah. What was
Why
up with
did she
that?
have to have red hair here? I liked it, but like I don't.
I mean, I liked it, but
I don't know. She was the only one who had to be in like that kind of a disguise.
I ain't mad at it.
I'm not mad at it.
Go on now. Go on with your bad self. Let's go.
Out of place. No, but then they go up there, and they're up there, and they're like, "Hey, Gamble's taking over the city below." But then in the meantime, like, somehow Gamble got back up there and disguised himself, and they didn't know it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is all like,
Don't they think, like, I mean, I promise I watched this episode, but, like, don't you think that, like, when you start to notice, like, all these different languages, myth type stuff on this pedestal archway thing, like, hey, the last time we saw like multiple language weird stuff, we done got split up into different dimensional rooms. Like, I don't know, like I feel like there should have been maybe a little bit more caution before we just start approaching and reading something in Swahili on a random faraway planet.
I mean, we are scientists and explorers. We like, it's our job to look to find artifacts and try to figure them out, right?
Right, but at the same time, like, we know that the Vesda are in play. Like, we're gonna go check out a joint that the Vesda had some kind of connection with, and we're seeing an Earth-based legend or whatever, like, you know, this thing about that Mbanga responds to. And we're not concerned for like just a split second that some bad juju's about to happen.
It's destiny.
I don't know.
It's destiny. This show does not shy away from destiny, right? We know characters have predetermined fates, right? And I don't know if Mbenga knows that about Pike, but why can't another character think they have a predestined fate?
So one question I had though about this is: are we saying that the writings on this pyramid-y thing were always there, or was it Gamble who put them there to intrigue them to open the door? Because I don't know, was that ever? I don't think that was really explained, right?
I don't think that was explained. I took it was always there.
See, and I mean that doesn't really make any specific sense to me, because these beings aren't necessarily, out of time, out of whatever. They seem relatively linear to me. So it would make more sense if Gamble had set this up, because the whole thing is like, in order to open the door, it has to be two people. That's the duality. It's that you have to have two people in order to open a door. It was like a safeguard.
But we didn't need two people to open the door to get into the prison.
Weren't they in pairs, though?
Well, when they got split up, they were.
They were, yeah.
But
isn't that kind of the thing? They were an even pairing. I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking about it a little bit. I mean, in terms of this door needed two people. So
Yes.
that's why I kind of assumed that Gamble would have just set this up, because he needed a second person.
But why did he need Mbenga specifically, or could it have been any person? Could he have put old Gaelic writing and gotten Scotty to come?
And I think that's a little bit of the mythology maybe the show wants to portray, is the connection between people. So Mbenga has a connection with this ensign. He was, like his favorite little buddy, and he died, and Mbenga couldn't save him. So I think that that's more of like a higher overarching thing, less so than something explainable, maybe. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense that you would need specifically this person over anyone else. I don't see that would be how the original race that designed all this stuff would have made it. It's like, I've got to get my special buddy to open the door. Where is he? Where's my special buddy?
Yeah, but then at the same time, once they do open the door, they're talking in the back in the prison, and the way Gamble is talking, like, Mbenga is his special buddy, and like it had to be them. There was like something special about why, and that's what I said earlier. It felt like Mbenga was going to have a role to play in this, but then they just, I just needed somebody to open the door. You're not special. Go away.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. Basically,
he didn't do anything after that. He just helped him open the door. He did like kind of try to trick him, and he says, "If I die, because like you can't get out unless you use me too, right? It takes two people to go both ways." So, and that's also the thing. It's like, if it takes two people to get out, and Mbenga was going to try to kill himself, but I think he was just faking it to like trick him, to push him open a different door and trap him. But then Mbenga gets like knocked out. I mean, we're skipping to the end when like Pike and Patel show up. What was the plan to then escape then? Was he just going to use Pike to help him open the door to get out? Was he, or once he destroyed the little shepherd thingy, or not? What was it called? The Beholder? Was that what it was called? Not the shepherd. Once he destroyed the Beholder, did he not need two people to get out?
Well, maybe he wasn't expecting to get out. Perhaps so.
I mean, it did. I mean, we do.
Well, he had to get out. He had to get out, didn't he? Because that was his whole plan, is to free all of the Vesda. So somehow he had to break out of the prison. He didn't just want to go back into the prison and chill with his homies back in prison.
Oh no, sorry, I was talking about Mbenga.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about Gamble, right?
I misunderstood.
When he couldn't get out unless he had a second person. But once he destroyed the Beholder, did he not then need a second person to get out, or was he just planning on using?
So it says so like in the dialogue, it did say the Beholders constructed this portal so that it could not be traversed alone. So you do need two people.
Okay, so
Period.
What was his plan to get out?
I mean, get someone else in there? I don't know.
Well, I mean, he still had Mbenga, though.
So here's the thing that I might be, I'm probably jumping ahead on this a little bit, but with how things play out with this Beholder prison thing, that's like, back on the planet Vidia 9 or whatever. Was it Vidia 9?
Vadia, I think.
Vadia 9.
You're pronouncing it.
So, potato, it's fine. Was this like a weird time travel thing that happened? Like, what we saw is actually something that happened in the future, and this is the future that caused all this to happen?
Didn't strike me that way at all.
Okay, cool. Just checking.
No, it didn't. It didn't strike me that way at all. I try to ignore time travel unless they explicitly state it's time travel.
Glad we're not going to have any upcoming series at all that it's going to use time travel as a plot device.
Cool. We'll see.
So this is where things just kind of take off, right? So the door's been opened. We have Evil Gamble and Dr. Mbenga. They go in. They're locked in. He does his bad guy speech and stuff to Mbenga. Okay, cool. And on the other side, yeah, there's some mustache twirling of the goatee going on. There wasn't actually no goatee. My bad. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we're looking at the top of the archway, and we see, right, the Vesda entity, and we see the Beholder entity. So we see like the bloody eye thing for the Vesda, and we see the glowy eye for the Beholder. And one thing that we note in a split second is that Gamble like strikes the pedestal, and we see like this glowing crack on Batel's forehead on the Enterprise. So there's some kind of connection. Something's going on. So in kind of regrouping and kind of trying to understand what the devil just happened, right, we kind of stumble into the conversation of sorts that Batel has become something more than just human and even Gorn. Like, she's like this amalgamation of a variety of species embodied in this one vessel, basically. And there's this, like, what'd they say, epigenetic kind of response to conflict between good and evil, and how she is housing a variety of species responses to fighting evil.
Yeah,
basically.
Not just like things who are evil, but like evil itself.
Evil itself, yeah.
It's like, this felt like a superhero origin story to me.
It did.
Like, I've gathered the best of all these races that have fought in evil, and they're all inside me, and I will become all powerful to defeat the evil and be the do-gooder.
Which didn't make a ton of sense, because
It didn't make any sense to me at all.
Well, so you have human, you have Gorn, you have Illyrian, and then you have the Chimera flower thing. But like, where did the rest of it all come from? Well, I mean, unless you take that one episode of TNG super literally, and then we're all interconnected by one former intergalactic species or something like that.
No, it didn't. This didn't make any sense to me. So she got like attacked, stung by a Gorn. Essentially, they shot some Illyrian blood into her, and she ate a flower. And now she is the embodiment of all that's good in the galaxy.
I am all that is good.
No, like, I don't like it. This did not make any sense to me. I'm like, I would rather Batel turned into the Gorn that Kirk fought, right?
Come on.
That would have at least made sense. This doesn't make any sense to me. And I get, like, we're like, this idea that you can defeat evil, and you can use like compassion and empathy, and toward the end when she does it, she says the love that is in me is stronger than all the evil that's in you, or something to that effect. Like, I like that idea. That's like a very positive and powerful idea. Like, Marvel is even embracing that lately. If you've watched all the Marvel movies that have come out this year, have basically embraced that idea at the end, is that I'm going to defeat my enemy by talking to them compassionately and using my empathy rather than just defeating them in a fight. Right? I mean, it's at its core, it is a Star Trek idea, like and the embodiment of good. But so she turned into this thing. Like, was this always her destiny? Like, does she have predetermined fate? Is that why her biosignature was exactly the same as the Beholder? Was she chosen by these Beholders and like reincarnated along the line? And she was here at the right moment. It just didn't make sense. It wasn't explained.
Yeah, it's not explained because, like, Cisco, you know, his story with the prophets and all of that, you know, they took a long time to explain it, but they explained it over a long.
It's a big retcon, though. Cisco's origin story.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, they explained it, sure.
Yeah, but I mean, there was the explanation, but there really wasn't a particular explanation of this, and the whole, like, if you're gonna say something's predetermined, like I've been here before or I was always meant to be here, you really need to spend a little bit more time on it.
Mm-hmm. We got like 5 minutes of it in one previous episode.
And guys, like that comment I was making about, like, did the thing that happened before, is this how it happened type of like wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff, because of that biosignature. Like whenever Chapel did like her little like, hey, look at life sign stuffs, let me spin it around, let me spin this 3D model around and fit it in this, you know, puzzle piece. Like, that's what made me think, guys, that this caused this, right? That
right, where she says effect can precede cause.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm probably not necessarily right on this, but let's just say that maybe it's more about the right condition at the right time. Because you could easily just have had, like, okay, so these beings before that trapped the darkness, right? Maybe it's a stage of evolution that she just happened to hit through all the genetic manipulation that she went through,
like by chance.
Yeah, so you could also potentially think about it is the universe is vast, potentially unending, you know, infinite sequence of anything you could possibly imagine. We have a lot of instances of like multiversal sort of stuff. So what if it's not predetermined, not predestination, but literally just random chance? Because like think about how, like, just Earth, we're sitting on this rock, right? The probability that all of this happened and that we're sitting here today on a podcast talking about a TV show, you know, that's could be as astronomical as anything else happening, right? So I mean, maybe it's just right place, right time, just so happened to be random chance. I don't know.
Either way,
it's not really explained.
Yeah, they just explain it to me either way. Is it predetermined, always meant to be, or was it random chance?
Yeah. So,
or maybe is that the point though? Maybe the unknowable is just supposed to be the unknowable. We've gotten a lot of spiritual themes in this particular season.
I mean,
I don't know if anybody's playing 3D chess like that, you know, at CBS, but you know, just saying.
Sure.
I doubt it.
So, in making these connections, guys, so we decide that we need to get our dude back, and we had an earlier phone call, little check-in message from a good old Kirk on the Farragut.
Makes no sense, by the way. This is actually, of everything, one of the stupid little things that makes no sense to me. Why would you talk to Kirk and not the captain of that ship?
Well, you have to pay. It's the difference between paying someone background or extra and paying someone guest spot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I'm just thinking about it, like trying to logic it out. If you need help, if you're sending out an SOS, hey, we have a problem that needs a bigger solution than one ship can take. Who are you contacting? The ship's captain. And maybe Kirk's like beside her, you know? It's like,
they're in the ready room
okay,
on the private
It's like
call, right?
It's like Toy Story, like whenever Woody and Buzz are stuck in Sid's house. Hey guys!
Oh my God, he killed Buzz.
No, I didn't.
well, I'm not gonna lie. The way Kirk was like talking about his captain, it's like, did you murder her? Are you now the captain of that ship because you murdered your captain? Did you Michael Burnham your captain?
It's like, what does your captain say? Well, yeah, the thing is,
live long and prosper.
The captain is
Live
dead.
long and prosper, dude.
The captain is dead, and we're doing Weekend at Bernie's over here.
Nobody knows the true story of Kirk and the Farragut.
No, here's my thing with
Read this tell-all.
We get the Kirk and the Farragut. And I don't even know what the captain's name is. If we even said the captain's name in the Sailor Who Ate His Tail. And we need some power. We need some juice to open the portal because
just give me the juice, man.
It can't be two people. It can't just be two people. It has to. This is where, like David, you asked, could it have been anybody? Like, does it have to be one Vesda and any other random person? Right? Or does it have to be the two specific people? Because, like, Pike and Patel couldn't open it up, right? Where they're like, nope, it's not working.
I think that they vaguely said something about that. I mean, I do think that there's a power within the Vesda that probably helps open the door, but they need two because the creation of the whole thing, the key is two people.
Yeah. So anyway, we got to get some juice. We got to get some power. So we got to shoot our phasers at it. Because, we
it's
gotta
the
fire
power
the
of a half
phasers.
a sun.
So what about
power
if we
of
get
one.
two of them? Is that a sun? Well, it doesn't quite work that way. Okay, but so this is we're gonna mind meld Spock and Kirk here, right?
We are going to duplicate screens. We're going to mirror our screens.
Okay, but does a mind meld work that can, like, I get there's still some little pieces that get left over because when Picard and Sarek mind melded, there was still a little bit of like thought between them, and we know that it was a little different when Archer and Siren mind melded because he like put his whole put Sirak's Katra in him. Right, so it was a little. It's not, and like Archer was like feeling some, but like in general, mind melds don't last when you pull away, do they?
Not that I know of.
Like
well,
there's some transfer because like even like Tuvok when he mind melded with Wormtail or Wormtongue or whatever his name is, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? When Tuvok mind melded with Brad Dourif, Chucky.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. He had some like murderous tendencies or whatever, right? So, but like the full connection isn't there when you break contact.
I have a logistical question about this. This isn't meant to sound funny. It's a serious question. So, if we have to control the ships and they have to be in perfect sync, okay? Hear me out on this. If every starship has a command code that you can enter to take over, why couldn't you, in theory, use the command code of the Farragut and basically control both ships from the same console and do a mind meld that way? That way you are in the same place, or just, use left side of the keyboard and the right side of the keyboard, and boom, there you go.
Didn't Scotty say something like there's something that prohibits them from working together?
Yeah, he had mentioned something about like certain safeguards they couldn't bypass.
What they should have done is gotten Admiral Shelby's fleet activation mode, right?
Oh, frick.
You should
Derek.
travel to the future.
I'm done. I'm so done.
Heck yeah, man.
Fleet
Oh my
mode, right?
gosh.
Or whatever they called that.
So I just want to throw something else in here because you had mentioned Picard. Now, in that instance, I always kind of took it like Sarek had kind of unleashed his burden so that he could concentrate effectively and finish those negotiations. So is it not, and they weren't together all the time. Picard was rolled up in a ball in his room. So is it maybe possible that instead of, I guess, having like a, I don't really know the proper terminology to call it right now, but like a twin connection where you're literally thinking the exact same thing at the exact same time and you're mirroring each other. Is it maybe more that they kind of, their consciousnesses, they kind of connected that way where they're thinking the way each other would think. So you have your comm link and you kind of know how each other are going to react. So it's not so much like psychic bond. It's more like a conscious or subconscious deep understanding of each other, maybe.
Yeah, but that's not the way it appeared on screen to me. The way it appeared on screen to me is like it was one mind.
Yeah,
a hive mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Into.
I agree with that 100%. I'm just kind of like thinking through if like we were trying to make it plausible in some way, maybe. I don't know.
And like to me, I think my biggest problem with this, I feel like this show is using this mind meld right here to sort of explain how Kirk and Spock became friends. They're saying they didn't become friends through some natural organic process of them working together. They became friends because they had did this mind meld, and if they were going to know everything about each other, like they could come to this understanding and be close to each other. And maybe you should just call me Jim because we're going to share minds. And I don't like that. I just that kind of like rubs me the wrong way a little bit.
Kind of cheapens the...
Yeah, it cheapens it. That's a good word.
Well, it cheapens the work that you have to do to truly become friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, making friends can be hard sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
Pray tell.
No, I'm done. I'm good.
Good.
But no, I mean, in all seriousness, it can be tough, especially when you're talking about two sort of polar opposites. Ultra logic versus swashbuckler. I'm done with the books. I'm ready to swashbuckle.
I got my swashbuckling pants on, y'all.
Anyway, we do the thing. We mirror the ships, and they're moving in perfect sync. And they do their little spinny rotation-y thingy. I don't know why they had to like spin and rotate like that. They couldn't they just aim? Doesn't the phaser fire whichever way they wanted to? But it looked cool, and they fire on this thing. Boom.
Yep.
The streams didn't cross. They just met at a point, and it opened the door. Yep. It was the key.
And
they were the key masters.
Gozer and never mind.
I actually want to know more about this nuclear battery, though, that Scotty proposes.
Like, bro, where are you hiding that at?
What exactly is
batteries?
What exactly is a nuclear battery to them? And what can two nuclear batteries actually do?
So the portal opens, and we're in prison land again, where we were before. And yeah, like Marie, she's got like they start to like confront, and there's like a little zippy zap thing, and Pike, like it's like he got kicked the Family Jewels or whatever, he goes down pretty quick and he's hurting, man. He is staying down for a little bit. And freaking Marie, she's about to freaking regenerate. Like, she's got some regeneration energy in her hand. Like,
it looks like Captain Marvel-y glow hands to me. That's why I said it looks like a superhero origin movie.
So the Doctor, whenever the Doctor regenerates, is dying and about to become their next form. At least in the modern era, from 2005 onward, when they regenerate, their hands and their head have like a golden shiny thing to them. So like the hands were like the golden shiny regeneration energy, basically. I'm like, oh shoot, like, are we about to get like the next Doctor? Is this a backdoor like announcement or something to the next season of Doctor Who? Let's go, somebody. Marie Battelle, next Doctor. The 16th Doctor, here we go. Yeah. Anyway. But like, and then we have like freaking Inner Light 2.0 with no flute.
It's very jarring how it just cuts to that moment. Like, wait, what just happened?
Also, like Shades of Generations too. The immediate thing I thought was Kirk running through, making food. Okay, but I do want to interject here and say that this was honestly such a sweet thing. It was such a beautiful little piece of, whatever you want to call it, TV or, make believe. I honestly enjoyed this so much for Pike, because this is a guy who knows his destiny. He knows where he's going to end up. And we all know, his eventual future. And we also know, just unless you completely disregard everything, that Battelle wasn't there. So having this little moment, because Battelle, I assume she knows at this point that there's no going back for her. She's done. This is her thing. Dead or not, her last act is to give Pike this dream, this perfect little dream of a house and a life and a kid, and kid getting engaged, and not getting hurt in the accident, as he is literally, he knows it's time now, and it not happening and everything. And there's, I don't know about you guys, but I know that, I think about a lot of things, and we sort of fantasize about the perfect scenarios, and that doesn't always work out. But, imagination can take you a lot of different places. But, out of everything, and you had mentioned this I think, Eric, you had mentioned this in the beginning, where it's it almost could have been longer. Mm-hmm. I would have loved for it to have been longer, because just sitting here in this perfect little fantasy for Pike, with the sort of ominous knock on the door, it's going to end at some point, but just having him be able to live this at least once, I really enjoyed it.
Well, I guess my question is, because toward the end, when she's dying at old age, she says this was the perfect dream or something, and I'm glad we could share this, or something to that effect. But my question is, does Pike remember all of this after it happens? Because with Picard, it's very clear he remembers everything that happens. It's at the end of the episode, he grabs the flute and he's looking out the window, and it's very clear that he remembers it. And to me, does Pike remember this? Because I felt like Marie was maybe saying, "Oh, I wanted to create this so I could have this memory." But
I thought,
was there any definitive that's why I don't know, because the moment when he takes the apron and puts it down, was that supposed to be the moment that is telling us as an audience he remembers everything that happened? Because it doesn't say Chef Pike on it, and I was if it had said Chef Pike, then to me I would have instantly said, okay, yeah, he remembers everything that happened in here. But it just wasn't clear to me.
To me, when they come out of like that Nexus experience, essentially, he like kind of like grabs and touches himself and kind of like, you know, like does like a little like head check on a swivel thing. To me, that was an indication that he remembered.
Okay. No, I thought it was beautiful too. You know, you touch on all the moments that, you know, are the big moments in your life that you want to be perfect in a sense. And I don't know if life can be perfect, but you know, there are certain moments that sort of feel like it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you get married, right? It's sort of like a perfect moment, and you're happy, and you know, when you have that anniversary with your wife, you like, can you believe we've made it a year, right? Like you know, it's so long, but it's so short at the same time. That first year, I don't know if it felt that way to either of you, but it did to me.
Dude, I'm coming up on 14...
I know your marriage is a teenager, so like
I'm coming up on 14 years and I still can't believe that it doesn't feel like 14 years at all.
And you always say like, no gifts. We don't have to do gifts, but you know, it's a trap.
Yeah.
That's a trap.
It's a trap.
Get a gift.
Always get a gift. Always get a gift, y'all. Pro tip, get a gift.
You know, and then you know, I don't have kids yet, but both of you do. And you know, I'd assume there's lots of special, like, quote, perfect moments that you feel like you share with your children. You know, although I would have been nice to see a few more moments with their child, like, growing up. We only see, like, the one moment where she's with the dog. Mm-hmm. So I feel like as their daughter was younger, like, you could have made this, like, you could have cliffhangered this, wake up in the Nexus, and then to be continued, and then played out this in like half of the first episode. Yeah, and we could have seen a few more moments because it was only like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
but yeah, you know, that moment where he sort of resigned himself to, this is it. I'm not coming back to you. I'm gonna be in a wheelchair. You know, not just a wheelchair, but
a beat machine.
Yeah, a beat machine. And then you just to see like the look on her face when he comes home, like pure moment of joy. Like you expected the worst to happen for like both of them, and it doesn't, and you just get to embrace with that person that you love. Yeah, and then I can only imagine what it would be like if your child tells you that they found the person that they want to be with. You know, like, well, we're all a long way away from that. But that feels like it would be sort of like a special moment too.
Right. Oh, that terrifies me, but excites me all at the same time.
Sure. That's a long way off, like I said.
I hope so.
Yeah, you have young children, the both of you. And then, like, you know, being able to live your life with somebody for that long. Like, I don't know how long it was, but clearly it was a long time. You know, my grandparents were married for 60 years. Like, just, I mean, think of all the things that they've been through from, you know, 1945 to, you know, 2008, right? Like, just how much life and history you experience in that time, and to be able to do it together and just, you know, be there, like, that's a powerful message that you can, like, stay with someone that long, even if it was contrived and there's like the ticking clock of the knock on the door.
Yeah.
Although I want to ask, what was like the shooting star? What significance did that? Because there was like the one time when he first came back from the mission, right? That was supposed to be the mission. There's like a shooting star because they're sitting out talking in front of the fire. And then when Marie's on her deathbed, there's like a little shooting star. And then at the end, at the very end of the episode, when Pike is back on the bridge, he looks out and before they warp off, there's like a shooting star. I wasn't sure what the significance of that was.
It's probably wrong, but I just assumed it to be Battelle, but I also know that she's a modern art statue in a space prison right now.
Yeah, but it was like in their Nexus world that they created. So like I don't understand.
Oh, I thought you were referring to at the end. Like
Well,
the
but yeah,
end.
but at the end too. But like I felt like there has to be some significance to that. I don't know.
So, I mean, Pike's pretty rattled. I mean, after all this stuff ends, like, Marie stops, halts, destroys, imprisons the Vesda entity.
Pretty easily, right?
Yeah, like just snaps her fingers like a cue almost. And like he melts away, and all the other like little electric eel looking things, they go back down to lower decks or whatever, and Pike gets back to the Enterprise, and he is pretty dang somber. I mean, like, they succeeded, but it was at a high cost for him, and Una's trying to console him. Like, I'm not ready to talk, man. I might be at some point, but not right now. And even with Una being in the center seat, he just kind of walks very slowly, even after being announced as captain on the bridge there at the end, and not as much zip to him. Like, he's even a little apprehensive about saying hit it. I'm like, no, don't hit it away from me, man. I like that. Don't you dare. But we were able to, get a list of new worlds that we can go check out, and we're going to go there as fast as Erica feels like it.
Yep,
So.
Erica, take us wherever you want, as fast as you want. All right, you don't say anything.
So,
and then we just little warp away. Kind of feels almost like an ending.
It does. It does. And I mean, it is. It's a season ending, but it feels like so much more to that. And I mean, part of me is kind of hoping we don't have to wait a whole year. I mean, we probably will. It'll probably be next,
If
June, July.
June or July would be okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we started this in, and like near the end of July. Like, I think it was like a third week of July whenever this season came out, and we were doing this thing, and here we are. Early September. So anyway, well, guys, that's it. Any other thoughts about the episode? I know we've kind of talked it to death before
Should
we.
be the Roger Court. He should disappear off to where he is to go make clones at nausea, or androids at nausea-inducing speeds.
Don't get. Bye bye. Okay. So Delta. So different divisions. How well do you think they were represented? So command, science, operations type stuff. Let me just start with the operations, like specifically with engineering. Like Scotty talking about the complementary aspect, I thought was good in terms of like theoretically it can be done, but there's like such a high degree of precision that's needed. It's going to be difficult, but in theory it could be done, and this is how it can be done. So I appreciated that in terms of cracking open the door.
So, like, operationally, like, they had a plan to link the two ships together, and they did their maneuvers, but, like, okay, yes, they had a plan and they followed it, but they used, like, basically mysticism in a certain sense to do it. So, like, is that science, engineering, operations? Does that count? That's my question.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, I think the technical side of things, which he was highlighting, right? He's highlighting this can be done, right? Like, can we get a nuclear battery?
No, I'm talking about when they actually went and did it, right? Not like with the mind meld. Does that count as science and engineering? to me, I don't know if it does.
You know, this is actually sort of another point, but leads to that point. One of the things, it didn't necessarily bother me, but one of the things I kind of observed is pretty much everything that they wanted to do kind of went off without a hitch. It actually would have been kind of interesting to have seen Scotty like go through and try and break these protocols to make things happen, but fail. And now we have to do the mind meld thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That would have
yeah.
actually been perhaps more operational. It's like, I am actually going through the systems to try and find a way. And just because you fail doesn't necessarily mean it's not operational, right? But yeah, they did kind of just sort of wave the hand and do the meld, and that's how they did it. But they did have a plan, they did execute it, but it's not in the most practical or engineering terms.
No, yeah, you're right.
But I guess you could also technically say that the end goal of that was to power this door. So they're taking on science and engineering that's far beyond their perception at this point, but they're figuring out a way to power it to make it work. So like that in and of itself is kind of a feat.
And
Yeah.
Pike does make the kind of snide comment about doing something that appears to be magic. I think it was Pike that said that.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah. Okay.
Command.
Well, I mean, Pike in and of itself does search out for options to solve their problem. So he's not necessarily backseating trying to solve this while he doesn't necessarily have a solution. He is relying on his crew. And then even I don't necessarily know if this is a small way or not, but you know how we talked about another series, which I won't name, where we just really wanted to see people not just saying that they were a family, but actually being a family. Well, in this show, we didn't mention it in the beginning, but they kind of like razz Scotty a little bit by having him come in full dress wardrobe, his kilt thing.
Sort of an initiation ritual.
Yeah. and they kind of, they're not, to me, it didn't feel like they were laughing at him. They were bringing him in on the joke. And like that sort of team building aspect of things is pretty important. That's not necessarily something we saw in said other series at all times. Whereas here we're making an effort to actually try and blend the crew and let them all kind of come together and laugh together and learn about each other and so forth. So I would say that in and of itself constitutes command, although I don't necessarily know who to assign that to.
Yeah, it's team building, right?
Yeah.
And that's important, especially in like military units, right? You have to have that camaraderie there. So I think that's important, and I think Pike is responsible for that in a sense. He empowers his crew to sort of, laugh at each other and sort of like do this initiation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's not like we're just like, what's the point of the episode? Like, that's not the point of the episode.
No.
And I'm like, we're like saying, oh, well, we can find command in this one thing that happened at the very beginning. But, our first thoughts of command isn't anything coming from the actual mission of this episode. So I think that's pretty, like, damning in a sense, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't find anything else. If I'm being honest, I'm looking for like a big standout moment, and I just don't see it.
It's more about the overarching story more so than the individual sort of growth and command and stuff, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's I guess let's go ahead and rate this thing. So here we are, for the last episode of this season, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a dumpster fire and 10 being absolutely amazing. Where are we at, guys?
If I'm being honest with you, I have no clue how to rate this episode. It's not terrible, right? It's certainly not. It's not amazing. I feel like we're following the theme of this season of reusing stories from what we've done before. I don't like what they did here with Captain Batel. Like, I don't mind that she sacrifices herself to fight the evil, destroy the evil, imprison the evil, whatever it is that she does, but it wasn't explained well. It doesn't make sense that she was like, oh, we put some other DNA into her and now she's a superhero essentially, and the embodiment of all that is good. But like, there were like beautiful moments. Like, our inner light moments here were really, really special. It just, the pacing was off. It felt like there was too many stories plugged into this one episode. It felt like we were setting things up that never had any payout or didn't really mean anything. I don't know. Like, what do I give this as a rating? Like, is it better? Is it worse than last week's episode? It's certainly worse than last week's episode, but I think I underrated last week's episode, especially after seeing where you two came in. So, like, I want to give it a 7, which is what I gave last week's episode, but it's not as good as last week's episode. So I think I just have to amend last week's rating to make this fit at a 7, because I don't know what else to do with it.
Okay, so 7 for you for this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Dave, do you want to go, or you want me to do this one?
Up to you. You're the captain.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I'm kind of there too, but I do agree that this isn't. It's not as strong of an episode as last week by any means. And it did seem like it was all over the place. Like, we were moving at, like, in some ways we were moving at like a breakneck speed, I think. But then, like, we pulled an e-brake and then, like, we kind of just sauntered along. I feel like this whole season has been really uneven, and we're just kind of recycling greatest hits. That's not to say that, like y'all have already highlighted, that the little Nexus dream world that they were in wasn't sweet. I mean, it was a really good series of scenes or whatever for them, you know, to kind of have that, like, alternate life where neither of them were seriously harmed or maimed. But it's an okay episode. It's an okay-ish episode. It was like the use of, like, Vulcan stuff to make the ships do cartwheels in space or barrel rolls in space, to shoot lasers, you know, at a doorway, having a non-Vulcan do a little pinchy pinch. I mean, that was the issue that we had back in Picard season 1. Like, just anyone can do Vulcan stuff now? Okay, cool. I think I have more. I still have, like, question marks on this episode. So I don't necessarily want to flame this thing. I feel like I've been flaming a lot of stuff this season. But I'm kind of there with you, man. Let's see. Wedding Bell Blues was a 7 for me. What was my was the next lowest after that. Would have been a 5.6 for Shuttle to Kinfori. So, I don't know. Like, this was just weird. Like, having Doctor Who, like, kind of being backdoored into this, like, with a time-traveling doctor and seeing the TARDIS in, a previous episode this season. Like, I don't know if this is Fonzie jumping the shark or not, but I might just come in a little bit lower than you, man, just for the heck of it. I'm probably just going to come in at let's just call it a 6.75. Because why not? What you got, David?
Okay, so two things. First thing I'll say, like, to echo Eric, I actually think I underrated last week's episode. I kind of felt a little bad as we were going through things, so I do want to say that, and when we do retrospective, that's probably a bit of a redo. But I'll say this for this episode. Let me look back here. I think definitely for the first time this season, and I might even say, I don't remember for Ad Astra per Aspero if I did or not, but this is the first time that I can remember in a while wanting to watch an episode twice. Generally speaking, I watch an episode once and then I'm good, and then rewatching it much later on is a different story. But like, actually going back and rewatching an episode twice for me is not something I typically do. And you guys have said, I know, Chase, you've said before that you've watched episodes like multiple times of, various iterations here and so forth. So I kind of, I watched through it once and I was like, you know what? I want to watch that again. And I was kind of surprised at that, because like a lot of the points that you guys have made are absolutely true. The pacing was odd. This needed to be a two-parter, or it needed to be a longer episode, one of the two. Things were a little bit breakneck about it. There was a little bit too much hand-waving with certain or non-explanations of things, where I think a lot of the point of Trek, and at least in general, is we sometimes we over-explain stuff and even make up our own words to do so. But there's just something kind of sweet about this episode. Like, it's at a sweet spot for me, and I don't know if I can fully explain it, but it's not unique, but I do periodically like to see a show or a movie or something kind of harp on the power of love. I think in a lot of ways in day to day, there are some people who really forget that. And I actually do truly think that love can conquer anything. It steps in front of. And, this is really the story of, while it's not necessarily well stated at all times, this really is kind of the story of Pike's march towards the end. And we have this alien threat, the evil, the original evil, and we have this, in my opinion, this random good. And boy, oh boy, wouldn't it be great if there were more random good. Not just play set good, but just random good, just because it's the right thing to do. And seeing the crew interact, and it is reminiscent of the end of TNG, where they're all kind of together and they're happy and they're engaging, and then you have the heartache at the end of Pike losing, in quotation marks, the one that he loves and everything, but having this sweet memory that she gave him before she had to, stop the bad guys and so forth. I don't know. Like, I felt kind of like a weird connection to the episode, and it kind of boggles my mind a little bit, because sometimes I can be certainly very nitpicky about stuff, because like the science didn't really make a lot of sense, the operations didn't make a lot of sense. So, I last week, this ties into now. Last week I underrated that episode. I kind of talked myself down on it, and like I really need to stop doing that, because it bothered me that I did that. So I'm not going to talk down myself on this episode, and I'm going to give it a score that might be a little ridiculous, just because I felt a particular way about it. It really hit me in the right spot at the right time. So I'm going to give it a 9. And I don't know. I just enjoyed it.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing. Yeah.
Okay, so just to recap for this episode, we are a little bit all over the place, but that's okay. We have a 7 from Eric, a 9 from David, and a 6.75 for myself, which gives it an average rating amongst us with a 7.6 if we just round up.
Gotta be one of the biggest gaps in our rankings, like on any episode, especially of this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like this season, I feel like we've been pretty in line.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've been pretty darn close. I mean, just looking at it now, I mean, like, we're going to do a retrospective in a little while. Like, a little while from now. Like, we'll give it, like, at least 2 months before we come back and do a retro on this at a minimum. But, like, as it stands right now, guys, the average rating that, like, for the season as it stands right now without the retrospective kind of overriding the score, 7.3.
Which certainly feels like a step down from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, like, the season, season 1, the season average that we ended up with was an 8.3. Season 2, we ended with a 7.85, call it a 7.9 if you will. And then now we're at a 7.3.
Well, season 1 got better after our retrospective, though.
It did. Yeah, like for our retro, like if we're like looking at the score. So again, like season 1, the average rating was an 8.3. Our retrospective bumped it up to an 8.6. There was a little bit of a decline, but like nothing super significant when it came to season 2. Like season 2, we had 7.86, or I'm sorry, 7.9, and it's a 7.83 with our retrospective. We don't have a retrospective for this one, obviously, yet, but I will be interested to see if it stays the same, if it goes up, if it goes down. Which it sounds like there might be like some tweaking of numbers, which I don't know how much significance there's really going to be, like with some of those shifts, unless they're pretty seismic shifts. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I know I talked about it last time, but we've been going for a while. I know this is season finale, and we can certainly save it. I mean, I hate to keep tabling it, but let's definitely save it, because we are at quite literally the middle season. This is the middle season of the series. So when we do our retrospective, unless we just want to like do like a separate episode like on middle seasons and like comparing middle seasons of like current year of Trek, we can do that. But I do want to like eventually have maybe a slightly deeper conversation about middle seasons and kind of how they fared, or just like how the seasons in general have fared, like comparing seasons and strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. So that could be part of a retrospective. That could be a separate episode for a show altogether. But that's just, again, that's where my mind's going in terms of just, again, where we're at. Because, I mean, the next main show that we're going to really be seeing and watching will probably be Academy. Whenever we get I don't think we've seen an official date on that yet. But I know we were kind of kicking around an idea of maybe doing like the Khan audio series and kind of talking about that, and kind of seeing where that takes us. So, which came out this week. I mean, we're at the time of recording this. This is the week of Star Trek Day. So, 59 years. Holy cow!
It's a long time.
Yep. So, gents, if you don't have anything else, I don't have anything else. We can mosey on out of here and pull into space dock.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, everyone, welcome to the show. We're going in. Oh, wait, wrong. Sorry, that's the wrong thing. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. And guys, as always, appreciate the conversation. Thanks for going through another season of Trek with me, talking about another show. Always enjoy the conversation with you guys and just being able to nerd out with you. For everyone else, hope you enjoyed it. What did you think of the season? Let us know. Get in contact with us about that. Favorite moments, whatever it is. trtvpod@gmail.com. Of course, you can get a hold of us using your voice thingy, doing like the phone number thing, 817-752-4757. Other than that, if you want to mail us something, like a nuclear battery, and by nuclear battery I mean like an 8-pack of AA batteries, that's cool. Lone Star Station, P.O. Box 2455, Azle, Texas 76098. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, remember to boldly go and make it so.